Hello and welcome to the Craft Witch Corner, where I yap and craft. My name is Dex, and my pronouns are he, they. Holy shit. It has been over a month since I filmed this video. A lot of shit has been going on for me, so I've been incredibly stressed, dealing with a lot. I was filming, and then the camera died, and I put it on the charger and then completely forgot that I had never finished talking about what I was talking about. So near the end, there's definitely going to be a part where I stop talking and then reappear with the new hair, the new look, and I don't know how much it's going to make sense. I wish I would have written down what the fuck I was talking about because I don't remember. And it's not very clear from what I was saying when the camera died. Hopefully we can piece it together the best we can. As much as I enjoyed everything about making this grimoire, talking about everything, I'm very excited to move on to the next thing. We're just gonna get right into it, and I hope you enjoy hearing me yap for a long time about this grimoire. Hopefully it makes enough sense. I don't know. The day that I filmed this was very much a chaotic ADHD day. I believe this might have been before I started my medication, or I think I had literally just started my medication. Either way, the ADHD was still winning, so you will hear all about that, but the ADHD was still winning, so it's a little bit all over the place, a little bit chaotic. I'm feeling much more centered and stable now that I've been on the medication for a while, so I hope that you enjoy listening to me yap all about my grimoire. I want to talk about my junk journal grimoire, and I'm definitely going to do a better quality flip through of some of the pages. I'm not going to be sharing all of the pages in this. I am not comfortable. I definitely have some private information in here and some private things. Obviously I put a lot of time and effort. I had over 500 hours of footage. Did I say 500? Oh my gosh. I had over 5 hours is what I meant to say. Jeez Louise. I had over 5 hours of footage, and it took me a very long time to get that down to a usable amount of footage. I don't know the exact time because I don't think I didn't really keep any record of when I started, but I think it was at least 2 full months that I was working on this. So it took a long time. It was like a lot of hours of my life. I would say probably in total, I think it was like 8 hours of work at least, just to make it and not to put anything in it. Obviously that's a whole other lengthy process, and I'll probably be, oh my gosh, I forgot I had a Sharpie in there. I was like, why is this so thick? I feel like it wasn't this thick. Yeah, I put a lot of time and effort into this. I believe I kind of vaguely alluded to how I work with spirits in terms of spirits in man-made things or in things like grimoires, journals, books, things like that. I would say I'm definitely newer to spirit work in a way. I have been witching intentionally for about 8 years. When I first started, I started as a Christian witch. It was more love and light, you know, and if you know, you know, and if you don't, but I was very scared of spirits, very scared of working with anything demonic or, you know, all of that. I still believed in the devil, and now I don't. But, you know, 8 years is a long time. It took me a long time to even get comfortable with the idea of working with anything other than, you know, God himself. It was definitely at least like 2 or 3 years before I even considered working with something, and then went full on working with Loki, just came crashing into my life and was like, hey bestie, you're with me now. And I was like, okay. And it literally wasn't until this year, I would say in the last 4 months probably, is when I've actually started working with spirits and actively wanting to have a relationship with different kinds of spirits other than just the 2 gods I've been working with. I think spirit work is very complicated in general as a whole topic. And that could be a lot of videos, and it already is a lot of videos, and I've watched a lot of videos about it. So that's not really my place, and you know, I don't really want to talk about that. But what I do want to talk about is how I work with spirits of things like my grimoire. So I'm still new on doing this. I have not really kept a solid grimoire ever. I have ADHD. I have so many notebooks that I stop partway through, and I find them later and I'm like, what the fuck? So then I rip out the front pages, and then I just keep doing that until, you know, all the pages are gone. Or I just have things where I just put everything that I ever think into it, and then you can't find anything. And so I've spent a lot of time, and I talked about it in the last video. I have spent an incredible amount of time trying to figure out a system that works for me. And I found something now, the newest thing I've been doing with the binder, that is working really, really well. And I want to say this, if you have ADHD and you do a grimoire, I highly recommend this is probably my more secondary grimoire, but my primary grimoire it's my everything grimoire. I put everything in there, and I just have the fucking post-it note flaggies, whatever the fuck they're called. I don't know what they're called, but post-it note flags. I have one for like my daily page, for my to-do lists, for like planner pages. I've started bullet journaling. I just have the flags for everything, and it's easy to flip through and find the things I need. So I have a color that represents spells and divination and, you know, spirit work and therapy and psychiatry, like all the things. So I recommend doing that if you have ADHD. Also, if you just like to be organized, but if you have ADHD, like, it helps, because I did used to be the kind of person that would just be like, well, I have to have everything in a separate journal. But then I'd be like, well, what journal does this go in? And then I'd just not do stuff. So get you an everything grimoire, get you an everything journal, and then just have the flaggy thingies, and then it's just easier, okay? I promise you. I do really think you should try it, but I can't guarantee. Everyone's different. Okay, fuck, that's a different point. Anyways, I don't even know what the fuck that had to do with anything, but there's a little update for anyone who saw the last video where I talked about my seasonal grimoire thing. The new method is working very well currently, and I'm really excited. It could change. I mean, it's only been like 2 or 3 weeks at this point that I started this new process, like this new system, but it's working so fucking well. It wasn't until this last summer that I even was able to actually keep a regular grimoire. Like, when I say regular, I mean like consistently putting anything into a grimoire. I had a grimoire that I started near the beginning of my journey, and I filled out maybe 5 pages, and I never touched it again. I never touched it again. And now I think I ripped out all those pages and threw them away. Like, now I'm gonna use that for something else, I think. Probably is what I did somewhere. I don't know where the fuck I put that either, but you know. ADHD, you put things in a place where you think it will be useful, but then you don't make any note of why that was useful for you, and then you just forget. This is so chaotic. I'm so sorry. I'm doing my best. I believe, personally, the amount of time and effort, 8+ hours that I spent on this grimoire, and the amount of my energy that I have poured into this book right here is insane. And I do think that that leaves a mark, especially and specifically as a witchy person, and because it was an intentional act I was doing, where the intention was that this is a grimoire and I do want this to have a spirit. There is nothing in the world that has the energy of this exact book right here. And I believe, in a way, with spirits, like, it's real because I believe that it's real. Part of how I believe about the gods. I have no way of proving that they are real beyond me, but I can prove that I believe in them and that they're real to me. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's confirmation bias. When you believe in something, you see more evidence of it being true, and you don't see evidence of it not being true. I believe that this book has a spirit, so it has a spirit. I believe that I can work with the spirit of this book, so I have experiences that line up with that. So maybe it's all bullshit, and either way, I'm having a nice time in my life, so I'm not too worried. But I just wanted to talk about the process. So I don't even really remember why I started this. I think I was just bored and needed a project. This was the first ever video I started filming. I'm sure you will have noticed I look different. My hair is very different. This was literally just before I cut my hair. Literally today, oh my gosh, today has been so bad with ADHD. Like, my ADHD has been just taking me so off topic at every moment. Like, I was just like trying to do my morning stuff where like I do some journaling and I do my rune journey and I read my manifesto, and I was just trying to do that, and then I was like, oh, let me just take a quick 45-minute detour into doing 5 different things while I'm in the middle of doing my rune journey. Let me just take a second. I just keep getting derailed, and then it's like I'm trying to like do anything, and I found my oven mitt in my fridge. I don't know how long it's been there. Me and my fiance did a grocery order, and we're putting some groceries away, and I open and I just see this oven mitt, and we were dying for like 5 minutes. Yeah, that's been my day. And you could literally tell me that oven mitt has been in there for 2 months, and I believe you. I'd wholeheartedly believe you, because I literally have no clue when it went in there. I have no clue. That's where my focus in my brain is at today. I'm like really having a hard time staying on topic. You also notice that I'm living in a different place in all these clips than I am currently. So I started filming when I was living at my previous place of residence, and I did not feel comfortable speaking like to the camera. I decided that this was something that I could easily film and not be bothered. So I've definitely had a lot of paralysis about what to put in here and how to do it, because like I've gone a little bit back and forth on how I wanted to use this. I had kind of like originally wanted it to be like a spirit work grimoire, but then I was like, I don't know, like I feel like I don't do spirit work in a way that it makes sense for me to fill a whole nice art journal grimoire full of information on it. It just doesn't make sense to me. So it's just kind of a bunch of things, which just reflects all of my practice in my life. I'm actually getting ahead of myself though, so I'm gonna talk about something else. If you have any desires to make your own junk journal grimoire like this, my first thought is you're insane. My second thought is do it, do it, do it. I don't give a fuck if this had taken me 40 hours. If this had actually taken me 500 hours, like I fucked up in the beginning, I would still have done it. I would do it again. I am planning on doing this again. I am 100% gonna make another one of these. It is an incredibly fun project. I will definitely be doing the next one differently though. My plan for the next one is that I'm going to address each page in chronological order. So each time I want to add something, I'm going to add just to that page and then keep the rest of it as is. I just feel like that if I would have done it that way, it could have been easier. I am not doing this grimoire in order. This is the point. I am filling out pages randomly within because there are certain things that I'm like, those colors don't go with the vibe of what I'm writing in here, so I need to find the page that goes with the vibe. But then it's made it so that I can't really make an index, so it's just making it hard. I just made it hard on myself. That's fine. Once I fill this all up, I will probably just go in the back and like do it, and then, I don't know. We'll see what happens with that. Anyone who sees this wants to make one of these, I would recommend going page by page. You don't have to. I didn't, clearly. But next time I'm going to, and I think I would definitely recommend that over what I've done here, just because I do think it allows for more flexibility. You can make that page exactly what you want it to be for the information you're going to put in it. And I think that would have definitely been better. I definitely recommend writing either a pledge to the grimoire, a pledge to your path. The pledge that I wrote was a pledge to my twisted path. The evocation that I wrote, obviously I'm not going to read it, I'm not going to share details of it, but it includes the name, so this is another point. Name your grimoire. I highly recommend, if you're going to do this kind of a thing and you specifically want your grimoire to have a spirit and you want to work with the spirit of your grimoire, name it. Include the name in the evocation and what it's related to. So one of the lines is about how this grimoire relates to my twisted path, right? So something like that. And then I wrote the name of the grimoire, and then I also have a sigil / bind rune. It includes runes and also non-runic symbolism in it. It's kind of like a hybrid bind rune sigil. And I made that to watch over and protect all my grimoires. So it's just something that I've been adding into. I added it to this grimoire. I added it in my briefcase. It's in, I'm pretty sure I put it in my binder, and I know it's in my summer grimoire. I kind of glued it in and all that, so I recommend making that for your grimoires. And then I have a collage that I did that just kind of relates to some things. The first actual real page that I did was just a poem that I wrote, and I made a piece of art, like a collage painting kind of thing. And then we just have some random shit going on. In this spread, I'm just like talking about my inner power, which has relations to a spell that I did that I'm going to be adding in here. I made an inner power spell shawl, so it's just to connect me to and strengthen my inner power for life in general, but especially to use when I'm going to be doing spell work. So I just kind of wrote about inner power and what that meant, what that means to me, what that looks like for me, etc. I have some incantations I've used, some incantations I just thought of and I haven't used, and I have a bunch of my personal correspondences in here. I have a full 2-page spread on the rabbit spirit I worked with during summer, and I'm working on, again, a 2-page spread for the spirit I'm working with right now, and these are the cardinal spirits. The frog spirit, so I'm working on that. This is funny, I'm gonna read this. This is for some, like, kitchen witchcraft stuff. So foods high in fiber or protein
could be used in kitchen witchcraft to increase satisfaction and fulfillment in life. And high fiber foods could also be used to flush the bullshit out of your life. Lentils, rice, quinoa, bone breath. It's meant to say bone broth, but it says bone breath. I'm gonna leave that because that's really funny. Anyways, so then I have another poem. I'm currently working on, shout out my mentor, Kellyanne Maddox. Go watch her videos. Is a threat. No, I'm just kidding. She has so much free shit on YouTube here, and she's incredible. But in particular, I will link a video about witchy glow-ups. And I'm currently still kind of planning and working on my glow-up. And it's been going on for a while. And I will eventually make some videos about it. But it's very personal, and I need to figure out how I want to talk about it, because it's very personal. So anyways, I just have a spread. I've made a playlist that was for my glow-up, although now it doesn't necessarily feel super connected to that, but I'm not going to cover this up. I'm going to let it stay here. I have this letter that I wrote myself that I'm not going to reread at this point because I'm just going to wait around and see. I don't know. I've just been leaving it in here because I want to open it again when I see it in a time when I feel like I need it. I have some pages about this one I will definitely share. Oh wait, let me actually, in real time, adding to this. It's Queen and Ace. I don't necessarily want to share a lot, like show a lot of the pages, but I am comfortable saying certain things off of certain pages because there's a mixture of things that I'm comfortable with and not comfortable with sharing that I've added in here on like a lot of the pages. This is some of the I don't even know if you're going to be able to see very well, but I just also really like these pages. So this is just spring abundance and summer abundance around me. I didn't end up really thinking about this too much during summer, so I only have 2 things on here for summer, but that's fine. I can just keep coming back, and maybe next summer I'll be paying better attention, and so I can like actually add more here. So then I have some incantations that I will not share. My spread on the frog, which I will not share, and I put a little cute tiny little frog sticker in here. I'm trying to be as loosey-goosey, silly-billy as possible in this. I was like not adding anything in here for like months because I felt like it had to be so serious because I spent so much time on this, but then I'm trying to remind myself that the whole process of this is supposed to be fun and silly, and for me that's like one of the cornerstones of my practice is just having a fun, silly time, and I don't want it to be too serious. So I'm trying not to like take it too seriously where I feel like I can't add anything in here. This is an exciting spread. First, I have a reminder on a sticky note to do a certain thing on this spread that I want to do. This little guy has like a little flippy doodah little guy, and then there's an envelope on this side, and it has some stuff in it right now. And before I do the thing I want to do on this spread, there's a lot of envelopes in here. I think at least 3 or 4. So I'm just gonna move these to a different envelope, but I want to do an envelope spell. So the 6 pages after this spread are 6 pages that I wrote on my glow up. So I think it's like 3 of the pages are my affirmations. There's like 21 affirmations. I've decided now that I'm basically just picking 1 affirmation every month to focus on, and that gets me to about 2 years, which I think for the glow up I'm doing makes a lot of sense. I feel like 2 years is a reasonable amount of time for this to take. I have my affirmations. I have a page about, it has the name of my glow up and then kind of the basic reasons for it, idea of it, and then I have binder and sigil I made, the spirits and deities I'm working with, the colors associated, a servitor I'm going to create, some other notes, a consecration incantation I'm going to use, and then my long-term goals. I have another incantation. This honestly ended up having mostly incantations, so this has a lot of incantations, which I think is funny because a lot of incantations I write so specifically for one spell and then never use them again. So I just think it's funny that I've added so many, and it's like, how usable is this gonna be? Originally, when I first started adding things, I just remembered another reason that I wasn't adding stuff in here is because I wanted to only be writing in this grimoire with, I have a quill, like a glass quill, and I only wanted to write in that, but it's so fucking hard. It's just really difficult, and then also because there's like the paint texture and stuff like that, it's just really hard to write in here. So then I was trying to do it with the regular pen, but like some of it, the texture, it's hard, it's whatever. I started using a Sharpie and it worked way better. And I was like, oh my gosh, I should be using a Sharpie. From now on, I'm going to be doing my writing in here in a Sharpie. I think that's going to make it easier for me to add stuff in. And I'm also like leaving myself reminders in my like daily page of like, hey, add this to the grimoire. So then I have a bunch of pages. I can't remember how many rocks it is that I have, but I have a magical rock collection. These are not crystals, and I guess in a way you could say I'm using them like crystals, but not really. They're just regular rocks that I've gotten in various places from various times, things I've collected, things that have been gifted to me, and they're just special rocks that I am just letting them tell me what they're for. Okay? And it sounds batshit and it sounds woo-woo. Basically what has happened is it's only been like maybe 4 or 5 of them that have told me what they're for. I'm having an issue, and then all of a sudden I think, and I've been keeping them on my altar. I'm having an issue, whatever it might be. Let's say like, okay, like the first page, right, is my focus rock. I was just really struggling to focus, and then I looked down at the rocks, and I don't normally look down at them, but I just like looked at them, and then I saw this one, and I could just hear it telling me like, I'm for focus, pick me. So I just took that one and I kind of held it. I don't know if anyone else does this, but I kiss a lot in my witchcraft. I don't know, maybe I'm just a loving soul. No, I'm just kidding. But I love to seal with a kiss. When I work with spirits, I love to give them a kiss. Like, I'm not even kidding when I say that. I give my home spirit a little kiss every morning and every night, and that's like I'm being dead ass. Okay, I'm not even kidding. And I'm laughing, but I'm being serious. I love to give a spirit a kiss, as long as they're into it. When I work with my magical rock collection, I kiss the rock to like signify that I need its help right now. So I'm like, thank you. And then I'll usually kiss it when I'm gonna be done. Anyways, I think it's just fun and silly, but for me, I feel like it really signifies like, okay, we're starting this, like, hey, spirit of this rock, I need your help now. Eventually, I do want to get into like full-on psychometry, but for now, I don't know how to explain it. It's just fucking the rock speaks to me, and I just pick it up and I go, okay, you're for this thing, let me try it out, and every time it has been dead on. Okay, so here now we have the evocation that I wrote for the rabbit spirit, as well as the incantation for my money bowl, and I've actually changed it now. This incantation specifically, it hinges on 3 spirits. One of them being the rabbit, which I am not working with until next summer, and then the spirit of honey and the spirit of cocoa. And because I have shifted the entire way I'm doing my money bowl refuelings now, I'm not really working with those spirits, so I rewrote the whole incantation, and it's very different now. And it's more centered around my ancestors and just the flow of money. I'm kind of getting close to the end, and I don't think I've added a ton in the back here. I have another incantation. This one was an incantation that I wrote for my physical healing oil that, molded, so yikes. I do want to remake that, though. So I wrote here somewhere... I literally wrote this part today. I'm going to get to the page that my thumb is on in a second, but I wrote on this page today. And originally I had been planning on sharing in this video what I underpainted on the front and the back cover. And then I was like, this feels very like sacred and special. And I think I wanted to stay secret. Like I wanted to stay just for me. But I also wanted to be able to remember, but I didn't want it to be front of mind. So I just wrote on a random page in the back. I guess it's the last page, which is kind of not the most random, but I just wrote what I wrote on the front and the back so that I can have that, so that I can remember, because I want to know what I wrote. And then this is definitely one of my more favorite spreads. I really like it. It's mostly for bind runes, but I did also add my sigil. Okay, so I'm going to tell you this. I haven't really been doing sigils. Since I started making bind runes, I have pretty much only been making bind runes. I have found them to be so much more effective. I don't know what it is exactly. Maybe it's just that when I was doing more like sigils, I was just less advanced as a practitioner. Not that I'm anywhere near advanced, but I mean, compared to even 4 months ago, like I have come a ways since then, like for sure. Maybe part of it is just the sigils I was making then. They weren't that great because I just wasn't that great of a practitioner, like, to be brutally honest. So I don't know if it's that or if it's just that bind runes work better for me. But I think I also just prefer bind runes. I think they definitely speak to me in a way that sigils don't, because I think I like that there is a sense of structure and a sense of structurelessness. It's structured and unstructured. It's structured because you have a set amount of, like, you have the runes. You're making these symbols with the runes. So I already know what symbols I'm going to use, and it's just about how I'm putting them together and in what way and what order and all of that. I think for me, it's more effective because I don't feel so lost about how to create this in a way that makes sense. I just know I'm doing it with the runes. I just have, and I work with the Elder Futhark, so there's 24 symbols I could work with. And those 24 symbols cover a large range of topics and ideas, and even each rune is representative of multiple ideas. As I'm working through my first 6-month rune journey and just creating a really deep connection with each rune, it is so fulfilling to work with them. I'm definitely kind of going down that path of runic magic for sure. Heavily. Like almost every time I'm thinking about doing magic, without intending to, I just want to work with the runes. I'm moving in a very runic direction. And so bind runes just feel more intuitive, like I just am intuitively leaning towards them, and they just make more sense to me than sigils ever did. And I liked the idea of sigils. I mean, I still make sigils sometimes, but I think most of the time it's more of a mixture of sigils and bind runes. It's like I'm still using runes, but then I'm adding some other symbolism, which I think I like the best. I feel like it creates a very unique symbol that is very specific to what I'm kind of trying to cast for, and it just makes sense to me. Anyways, I love bind runes. I've only been working with bind runes since August, and I've already made 6, and one of them has not been too heavily used yet. The other one I made to do with a spell, but then I ended up not using it in that spell, and then I should have been using it for other things, and I just have forgotten. And it's a little bit more complicated. The other ones I think I would be able to do without looking at it, and I could just do it from memory. This one's a little more complicated, and I feel like it would be hard for me to remember. I left a bunch of pages in the back for an index. For now, I just flip and flip and flip until I find it, and it's fine. But I think in the future I would like to be a little bit more organized with it. I would say, to kind of pull back around to something I said earlier, I think if you want to make one of these, that you're absolutely insane, and you should absolutely do it, but know that it is a fucking time suck. I mean, wow. It took me a long time. And I absolutely adored the whole process so much. If you have a printer, or if you have access to the library, where I think some libraries, it's free to print a certain amount of pages, and some you have to print for every page, so not every library is the same, that's for sure. But I highly recommend taking pictures of things and printing them and putting them in. One of the things I want to add here is I'm gonna take a picture of my altar every time I change it and print it out and put it in here, and then kind of write about why these items are here and why they are significant to me in this moment and at this time. And I'm really excited. I feel like that's like a really cool way to be able to kind of see how my practice is evolving and what's important to me at different times in a way that is so much more concise than having to look through and read my entire seasonal grimoire or a few seasonal grimoires to get a good idea. And then also I'm going to do the same thing with my glow up shrine. I'm going to take a picture of that and my ancestor altar. The other thing I'm going to add is a photo of each of my knitting magic specifically. So I have my inner power spell shawl. I'm going to take a picture of that, print it out. I'm going to add it in here. I have a pair of socks that I did not knit with the intention for it to be witchy. It was just my first pair of socks I was making myself, but they have become grounding socks that I wear every time I'm done with spell work. So that's the only time I wear them. I love knitting socks. I hate wearing socks. It's very funny. It's very funny, and I don't know what to do about that because I have so much desire to knit socks and I have zero desire to wear socks, so I don't know. And I have a quilting spell I did. The quilt was already made. I'm just like embroidering it. So I will take a photo of that and add it in here. And that's kind of my plan. Knitted or woven, or I don't know, my different fiber art spells. I'm just gonna take pictures of them, add them in here, and if there's an incantation or words of power or like an affirmation that goes along with it, then I'm going to add that. Maybe the process I went through or what I use it for or all of that. And I'll probably do 2-page spreads for all of that. So 1 page for the picture, 1 page for the description and incantation. So that is a big thing I'm really excited about adding in here. And I already have at least 3 things to add in here for that. And then my altar. Other than that, I add a lot of my incantations. I'm continuing to add bind runes that I make in here. My goal is I would like to have all 4 cardinal spirits have a spread in here. So I already have the rabbit and I've already mostly done the one for the frog in here. And so then I'll have the crow during winter and I'm gonna get the snake in here during spring. So hopefully I'll at least leave 2 pages left in here. I am hoping to be fully finished with this grimoire and finished with 2 more grimoires by the time of the spring equinox. I really hope that happens. We'll see. We'll see. As far as other things I would add in here, I am still kind of figuring that out. It is technically open to anything. I definitely want to do some envelope spells. I want to do the one that I talked about. There's some other envelopes in here, and I think I want to do a spell in every envelope in here because I think that just sounds really cool and fun. And other than that, it's definitely open for me to put anything in here. I will probably stick to mostly incantations and bind runes and stuff about my glow up and spirits. The specific 4 spirits. And this is not something where I put learning. Like, this is not where I put notes about anything. This is pretty much just applied knowledge. Again, my camera died. Here we are. Obviously, been a long time. Don't know exactly what I was talking about, but we're going to piece together the best we can. My Everything Grimoire that I've talked about a few times is where I put the notes for any learning I'm doing from books or videos or the notes on different exercises I'm trying. Anytime I do a meditation for a specific thing, I'm writing notes in this Everything Grimoire. And when I do spell work, I take very detailed notes about what I've done, like every single freaking step, unless it's something that I literally do every single time, like the tuning in exercises from Psychic Witch. Now that that is a regular part of my practice, instead of writing each step, I just go tuning in, and I know what that means for me, because I do kind of do it slightly differently than is outlined in Psychic Witch, but I know what I mean when I say that. But other than that, like, I'm putting detailed notes about each and every step I'm doing, especially because I tend to do it differently every time I do a spell. Point is, I take very detailed notes about everything and I put it in the Everything Grimoire. And I only put the most clean and polished things that I want easy access to in my Junk Journal Grimoire. Incantations, affirmations, details about spirit work. So with the cardinal spirits, I put when I work with them, what offerings they want from me, how they want to work with me, how I want to work with them, different things I associate with them. So for example, if there's a rune that I associate with them, or a deity, or another spirit, anything like that, I put it there. And that is just like the most concise version. My Everything Grimoires are like 700 pages plus, right? So I'm not interested in flipping through 700 pages worth of information to find one incantation. I want it to be easy. I want to know where it is. I want to be able to quickly find it. Not that I necessarily reuse incantations often, but you kind of get the idea. I will say I don't add to this grimoire very much. It's very rare that I'm putting something in here, because for the most part I'm still trying things out and often being disappointed. I'm not gonna lie. Oftentimes I have spells that don't work or don't really do what I wanted them to. I'm still kind of at the beginning of my actual like serious practice. I've been casually practicing for a long time, but it wasn't until, last 6 months where I've really deeply felt into it. It hasn't been that long. So yeah, things still often don't work for me, and that's okay. I'm learning, I'm figuring it out. Something I would want to add to this grimoire is eventually I want to do some journaling on why is it that spells aren't working. Like for me, I found a lot of the time if I'm doing a spell and the outcome I'm looking for is too far outside of myself, if that makes sense, like it's not coming true. Whereas like spells that I've done for my mental health, for creating safety in my mental health, works super well. Spells for anything, just if it's really closely directed at me and really closely related to transformation within me, it works really well. But when I've done like good luck spells for someone else, didn't really turn out, or like And I think I've learned another piece of it is I wasn't focused enough on the emotion that I wanted to have. I was too specific and not emotional enough about it. And I wasn't like leaning into that feeling and letting that feeling guide me. So when I've leaned into that feeling more, I think things have worked out better. Point being, I want to do some journaling on all of this and kind of like look at all the spells I've done, ones that have worked and the ones that haven't. And if I can find a thread as to why some aren't working and some are. Maybe it's that I'm just using the wrong components. Maybe it is that I'm not focused enough on the emotion, or that I'm being too specific, or whatever it may be. And then I will probably want to add a more polished, clean version of that to kind of help me to be able to look at when I'm going to do spell work and be like, okay, so these are the things I need to consider. I know I've said this a bunch of times, I'm just going to reiterate it. The Everything Grimoire, just as the name states, every fucking thing goes in there. And my Junctional Grimoire is only for very clean, polished, specific things that I want to easily find.
I hope that you enjoyed the video. If you did, please like and subscribe, and of course leave a comment if you have any questions, if you want to hear more about the process I went about. If you have any questions regarding that, definitely leave a comment. Or if you want to hear more about how I use the grimoire, any unanswered questions, leave them in the comment section. I will definitely get back to you. I really hope that you enjoyed the video, and I hope you have a wonderful day. Stay crafty and stay kind.